Hello and welcome to another update video about Ocean. So Ocean is performing really well while we see some consolidations across other charts. This bullish setup that I presented before to you is currently playing out, you could say. It is possible that this B-wave pullback in this larger diagonal pattern that I'm tracking here on the chart, that this is playing out. You might ask why I'm labeling this move up as a diagonal. Well, I assume in the primary count we have a B-wave low in the November 22, bear market low. This was a 3-wave move up in a wave 1. You could count that as a 5-wave move, but what's happening here is very messy. So I have to assume currently that this is a 3-wave move in an A wave. That might change, diagonal patterns often change, but either way, by using that wave count, we could identify a nice trade setup, and that's what it's about. Okay, it's not about having necessarily the right count or the one count, because it doesn't exist. It's about identifying wave counts that make sense and that can help our trading and that can give us clear parameters for reward and risk. And the assumption here is that we had a 1-2 setup that completed. The wave 2 bottomed in June 23. And then here a 3-wave move up in what I label as an A wave of a larger A wave, which would then result in wave 3. Okay, so that depends on the Fibonacci projections where that 3rd wave should land. Shouldn't be here, should be up there. But anyway, we take it level by level with these. The main takeaway is that Ocean obviously formed that 3-wave move to the upside in wave A. We had that pullback in wave B. And now we could be in the C wave. Now we could be in the C wave. And I'm tracking that as a potential 5-wave move, obviously. So I haven't labeled it yet, but it's possible that this was the one. This here was a wave 2. And now we are doing this. A C wave can be an impulse. Can also be an ending diagonal in itself, which would make everybody, not everybody, but everything very, very messy. But it's possible that we have a 1-2 and another small 1-2 setup here. On the 4-hour chart, we might see a little more. Problem that you see here actually is that this looks a bit like a 3-wave move again. So I cannot rule out that we're moving again in some kind of a weird diagonal pattern here. It's possible that this C wave is an ending diagonal. If that's the case, then yeah, we have a 1, we have a 2, and then this might be another A, B, C. So I don't want to label too much of this, because when we have an idea and perspective that we could be in a diagonal, it's best to leave it a little bit of space. At the moment, the trend reversal happened where it needed to happen in our support zone. And now to keep this wave count alive, to keep the assumption alive that the B wave already bottomed, it needs to, first of all, push above the A wave high. That's at 57.6 cents. And stay above the last swing low at 40.2 cents. What's, for example, possible is that if I add here a resistance line, you see that this might form. So obviously we have some resistance here at this 57.6 cent level. Could be it pushes a little higher and does this maybe, a bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. In wave 3, then we have a nice 3-wave move in wave 3. Depends on how we label that in the end, but that's not so important. The microstructure in these diagonals is going to change. It's always changing. So that's just common practice. Best is to be aware of the relevant support levels. I think they are still on the chart. They are defined. They haven't changed yet. Why have they not changed yet? Because it could be, in the alternative perspective, that the B wave never finished. The B wave is down there somewhere. And this here was in fact only an A wave of that larger B wave. This here is now a B wave rally, which the risk is always there, as long as we only have a 3-wave rally, and we could come down again in a C wave. I'm going to label that as a white alternative on the chart. Simply, it would just mean that this B wave is going to reset a little lower. Yeah, but nothing what I'm not primarily looking for that, but it is still highly likely. It would take a break below the last swing low to convince me that this is what's happening. And that would be at 40, as I said, 40.2, 40.3 cents. What would be a target for this circle wave C here? So target for wave C would be, first target would be the 100% Fibonacci extension level. So we can add that to the chart. It can always go higher, you know, but it makes sense usually to start with that. And that works out quite well when we look at the proportions and everything. And that should take us to 88 cents pretty much. That's the 100% extension level. I'm going to hide the ones that are not so relevant. I mean, again, it can always go higher. A C wave can easily extend up to the 1.618 extension level. But yeah, that's sort of here measured by taking the length of the A wave. Then we go to the low of the B wave and we get to 88.4 cents. There's also another FIB level that is relevant, 95 cents. So there seems to be some resistance between 88 and 95 cents. So that is basically what we're watching right now here, this wave count to unfold. In the primary scenario, that means we need to see a further move above 57.6 cents for a more convincing completion of the yellow B wave. In the alternative, the price now could still come down because we only have formed a 3 wave up from the lows, and we would simply re-enter the orange support zone and would be likely then to test the area maybe around 34 to 30 cents. But in the primary scenario, we have seen the low and I'm watching for higher prices. That's my update about Ocean. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.